The Orlando Magic just made a major trade for Desmond Bane from the Memphis Grizzlies. How does this trade affect the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference? We'll break it down today's episode, Locked On Pistons Podcast. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Ku Khahil. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for you guys at Locked On Pistons over the last 4 years. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits. Make sure you guys check out the description down below for the SUBSTACK and the playback. I want to thank you guys once again for being everydayers and making Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. Later on the podcast, we'll discuss what are fair expectations for the Detroit Pistons going into next year. To wrap up the podcast, I'll give a new segment we're introducing, Quick Hits. I just give my quick opinions on some things that have happened that involve the Detroit Pistons over the last few days. But we're going to go ahead and start off with the first major trade of the offseason, the first Shams Charania notification that hits and you're like, whoa, what just happened? The first Shams bomb, if you will. We got it today. The Memphis Grizzlies have traded Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, karl-Anthony, and 4 first-round picks. Now, if you want to hear in-depth analysis from the Orlando Magic side, you guys should go check out Locked On Magic. Our host, Philip, over there. Check him out. I'm sure he's freaking out right now. So go watch that. But I want to talk about how this impacts the Detroit Pistons. And I think every move, the Pistons and their fan base should be watching every move the Eastern Conference makes this entire offseason. Because I believe, in my opinion, every single move that an Eastern Conference team makes directly impacts the Pistons somehow. Now that they are, I should say, a playoff team with real expectations, which we'll get to the expectations a little later. So Orlando, they traded for Bane, and he's a really, really good player. I very much like Desmond Bane. He's very underrated, I see, from how people are reacting today. He's a fantastic basketball player. And the Orlando Magic this past year were right behind the Pistons with 41 wins. And that's with Paolo Banchero missing a lot of the season. He only played 46 games. That's with Franz Wagner dealing with injury, only played in 60 games. That's with KCP showing that he might be getting old and not very good anymore. That's with Jalen Suggs also only playing 35 games. That's with all of those guys dealing with these injuries for Orlando, and they were the 7th seed right behind the Pistons. And now they add Desmond Bane. That is a team that is trying to make a move and leapfrog the Pistons now. And this is something I've said in the podcast a few times, and it's what I'm watching for. The Eastern Conference is weak now, guys. It was already weak-ish, but a lot of people before the playoffs said, okay, it may not have the depth of the Western Conference, but it has like the top-tier talent of the West. It had Boston, Cleveland, like those guys could beat anybody coming out the West. So I don't feel like people called it really weak because they had those top-tier teams. Then you watch Boston go down with injury and go down in the second round. Then you watch Cleveland go down again in the second round. And you're watching a 4th seed, 5th seed Indiana Pacers make it to the NBA Finals. You watch the 3rd seed New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And now, going into next year, now that Jason Tatum is hurt and probably going to miss all of next year, now the East is wide open for every team. I truly believe you could not put a limit for me right now on the amount of teams that could come out of the Eastern Conference if they really want to try to make a move next year. Boston's going to fall off. Cleveland could come out of the East. New York could come out of the East. Indiana could come out of the East again. Milwaukee sounds like they're going to end up keeping Giannis. They're going to try to do something. Could that happen? Yeah, they could come out the East. Orlando just made a move. They could come out the East. Miami sounds like they're trying to get KD. They could come out the East. Atlanta's going to get Jalen Johnson back for an entire year, who was having a fantastic year, and they're going to try to upgrade their team around Trae Young and Jalen Johnson off a really good rookie season from Zachary Reshapes. They could be better. They could come out. Toronto, I like Toronto's talent that they got. They make another deal that maybe completes the roster. BI healthy. If those guys stay healthy, I like them. If Philly stays healthy, they could come out. Like, and then usually there's always a team at the bottom of the standings that surprises everybody. I think that team could maybe be the Hornets this year, but that's like 10 teams I just named that all reasonably could be sitting back saying to themselves, if we make this move, if we make a move, if we improve this team by doing X, we could end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. We could end up getting to the NBA Finals because of how open the East is, which I believe is going to open up an arms race in the East, and I think you're already starting to see it with Orlando. I'm going to say this here. This is my stance. I'm very fine sitting in this stance. I'll make it very clear all throughout the offseason, and I believe this should be every Pistons fan's expectation or belief about how the Pistons should approach the offseason. We'll get to expectations for the season next segment. But the Pistons should be improving this offseason. They should not completely run it back. And when I say run it back, I do not mean, oh yeah, you just bring the young guys back, obviously. No, you can choose to bring the young guys back. You can choose to trade one. I'm not opposed to trading one to try to get better. I'm also not opposed to just bringing back the young guys. That's fine. That's not what I mean. They can bring back the young guys, but their rotation needs to be improved. There is no reason on this earth that the Pistons should walk into next year with the exact same team. They need to upgrade from Fontecchio at the very least. They need to upgrade from THA at the very least. Upgrading from Tobias and maybe moving Tobias as the backup 4 should be explored. Upgrading from Malik potentially should be explored. There's at least 2 to 3 moves that definitely should happen within your rotation. That doesn't require you having to sacrifice 5 first-round picks. No one's asking the Pistons or wanting the Pistons to hard cap themselves. By the way, they're like $53 million away from the luxury tax. They're far away from the aprons. They're really not any move. There really isn't a move the Pistons could make this year that just kills them financially because of how much room they have, how much flexibility they have, cap space. They don't have cap space to sign free agents, but they are far away from the luxury tax. They are far away from the aprons. They can make moves and not be capped. Like that, they're fine. But no one's expecting them to do that. No one's expecting them to trade 4, 3, 4, 5 first-round picks for a guy. But do you need to upgrade your rotation at the very least? Yes. At the very least, you have to improve this rotation. Fontecchio cannot be the backup 4 again. You need to get better there. You need to get better at THJ's spot. Maybe need to try upgrade from Malik. Maybe need to try upgrade at the 4 position from Tobias. As he gets older, let him fade into the backup role as a 6 man, as the backup 4, and get a legit starting 4, a better 2-way guy. Like that, this is what should be constantly evaluated by the Detroit Pistons. And should it be on the table that they go out and make a trade for a quote-unquote star? Yes, it should be on the table. They have a top 10 player in the NBA, I believe, around there in Cade Cunningham. He's coming onto the scene. He's entering his prime. He's entering the first year of his extension. You have this cap flexibility to add big pieces around him and not just be completely capped out. That should be on the table. But that does not mean that's the only way to get better. They just should not be running it straight back. Because if this team, I'm telling you right now, if the Detroit Pistons come back with the exact same team, again, I see that when people say run it back, I see in the Pistons community people getting confused and being like, well, yeah, of course you want to bring the young guys back. No, you can bring the young guys back. That doesn't mean run it back. Run it back means you're coming back with Fontecchio, you're coming back with Paul Reed, THJ, literally the exact same team. If they do that, if they bring back the exact same team, Orlando will jump them, and I will tell you that at least 2 to 3 other teams will jump them because they will be aggressive. This East is wide open. I'm telling you, Eastern Conference teams are not going to sit back and just be patient this offseason. They're not going to sit back and just not do anything. They see that Boston's weak now. They see that Cleveland's weak now. They see that the top of the East is a weak New York Knicks team and a good and respected Indiana team, but no one looks at Indiana as this freight train that you need to be afraid of. The East is viewed as wide open by all of the Eastern Conference. It's going to be an aggressive offseason from the Eastern Conference. And if you're the Detroit Pistons and you don't make any upgrades to the rotation, again, doesn't have to be a star, doesn't have to be multiple picks, doesn't have to be giving up multiple young guys, but not improving upon your 7 through 10 rotation, your 6 through 10 rotation, you don't do that, you will get left behind. You will get left behind. You're not the only team in the East that has young, good talent. Atlanta has good young talent. Orlando has good young talent. They have a better top 2 guys than the Pistons got. And they just added Desmond Bane. Like, there's teams in the East that are coming. The Pistons are coming, but there's other teams that are also looking at this like, hey, this is our time. We can really make this push. If the Pistons do nothing, they will get left behind. They will get left behind. You can rely upon the improvement of Ivy, Duren, Asar, even Cade. You can rely on that. But those guys need the rest of the team to still get better. The rotation still needs to get better. Backup 4, 2 position, maybe even the starting 4. Those positions still need to get better. And if the Pistons do that, they should be fine. They should see improvement next year. But if they don't, I'm very concerned that they will end up getting passed by quite a few teams in the East if they just don't do anything. So let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Ku Khahil. Where do you guys stand? Should the Pistons make any moves? Does this Orlando Magic trade move you guys at all? Do you guys think the rest of the East is also going to start making moves? How should the Pistons try to improve this offseason? Let me know all that. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Ku Khahil. But coming up, I'll tell you guys what the expectations are or should be for the Detroit Pistons next year. I'll tell you this now. Quick spoiler. It should be to get better. I'll tell you what I mean coming up. Ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDINNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDINNBA for half off your first year with Monarch Money. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I want to thank you guys again for being everydayers and making this your first listen every single day. Check out the description down below for the SUBSTACK and for the playback. I have you guys with content coming over there all the time. But let's go ahead and get into expectations because I feel like the expectations should be very clear for this team moving into next year. And I feel like as someone with one of the bigger voices in the Pistons community, someone who covers the team, I feel like I need to say this. This team was absolutely fun this past year. It was by far the funnest season that I have had, obviously, covering the team. It's the most fun I've had watching this team since the 2018-2019 Blake Griffin year. You guys know how much that year means to me. One of the favorite years I've ever had watching basketball. I'm young. I don't get to experience a lot of great Piston basketball, and so seeing Blake and that 18-19 team, having a legit all-NBA type player in your team, it was a lot of fun. This past season was the most fun I've had since that year. And everyone, and I said this at the end of the playoff run, everyone will look back to this team. When I say this team, I don't mean just the Pistons. I mean the 24-25 Pistons. They will look at this team, this iteration of the team, this roster, these players, these coaches, the executives. They will look at everything involved with this season as the start of something anew, as the start of something promising, as the start of having hope again, and the start of hopefully the revival of the Detroit Pistons. This year will be memorable. Even if it didn't end in a playoff series win, it will be memorable because of what happened this year, how it jump-started this team, the just blowing expectations out the water, and just the vibes and entertainment that came with this team as well. It will be memorable without winning a playoff round. That is true. I stand by that. But now, after having a season like that, that stuff goes out the window. You have, we've had a few people on the podcast say this as guests throughout the year. We had Jason Timpf on the podcast, and he said this. We had Vincent Goodwill on the podcast, and he's mentioned this. We had multiple people on the podcast towards the end of the year that mentioned this. That this is the fun time. During that season, during the playoff series against the Knicks, that was the fun time. That was the no care for, you don't have no care in the world. There's no expectations. If you lose, you lose. If you win, great. That's fun too. There's no expectations because the Pistons weren't expected to be here. They overcame a lot, and it was just fun being there. Now going into next year, it's no longer just fun being there. Now it's expectations. And this is where I really just want to make a statement. It is okay for a team to have expectations. At some point, you have to have expectations. You cannot just be just happy-go-lucky at all times. At some point, a team needs to have expectations. And the Pistons have hit a point where they deserve. Cade Cunningham is a top 10-ish player in the NBA. He's an all-NBA guy. His talent deserves expectations. This team of young players with Cade, Asar, Duren, Ivy, Holland, they deserve the respect of expectations. So, no, next year, the Pistons fans should not be happy next year with a step back, and they should not be happy next year with make the 7th, 6th seed, push it to 5, 6 games again, lose. That should not be the expectation. The expectation moving into next year, in my opinion, should be to be better than you were this past year, to win more than 44 games. Doesn't mean you have to win 50, maybe 47, 48 games. That might get you to the 5th seed. Win more than 44 games because the team was playing much better after January 1st once Asar got back and was in full health or relative full health. You have that now for a full season. You now have a better idea of your guys. You can make more upgrades to your roster. So now you got Asar healthy for a full year. You should make upgrades to the roster currently. The team should be better. So expect this team to win more games. And I believe the expectation should be this team wins a first-round series next year. You should be expecting the Pistons to have a playoff series win next year. That should be the expectations of this team. We are going to be in 2026 next year, guys. They started this rebuild in 2020. We are going to be in 2026. We are going to be 6 years removed from the rebuild starting. It is okay in year 6 to put expectations onto a team. You should be putting expectations in year 6 onto a team. And if the Pistons didn't have Cade, if Cade didn't prove what he proved this past year, if they didn't have a budding superstar in Cade Cunningham, a guy who just made the All-NBA team, if they didn't have that guy, then okay, maybe you shouldn't have crazy expectations. But you do have that guy now. You have your franchise player. That is the hard part. The Pistons have something that 15 plus other teams wish they had. They have the franchise player. They have the cornerstone. They have the budding superstar. So now expectations come, you build around him, and every single year should be about getting better than the past year. Every single year should be about building forward, taking another step, turning over another stone. That's what every year should be about now. And that's a good thing. That is the respect, like I mentioned earlier. That's paying respect to the talent of Cade. That is paying respect to having a franchise player. That is paying respect to having a JB Bickerstaff, to having an Asar, to having a good young core. You should be trying to get better every single year. So the idea that the Pistons' expectation should not be a better season from this past year is wild to me. That should be the expectations for the Detroit Pistons next year. They don't have to win a championship. They don't have to make the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't have to go out and trade for Kevin Durant. They don't have to go out and trade for a top 5 player. They don't have to do that. They don't. That's not needed right now. Is it possible? Would it be welcomed by me? Yeah. But is it must? No. What is a must is a better season, is improvement, is getting better, not getting stagnant, not getting comfortable. The Pistons are past that point of comfortability. They are past that point of being stagnant. They are past that point. Cade is entering the first year of his max extension. He is a superstar coming through in the NBA. Every year now you're going for it. Every year you're trying to get better. And when I say going for it, maybe that wasn't the right word, because going for it, people think I mean you're trying to win the championship. Eventually, that is the expectation. But right now, every year should be we're getting better. Our plan is we will be a better basketball team next year. We will accomplish more than we did the previous year. That should be the expectations for this basketball team. So we're in June 15th when I'm recording this. The Pistons won 44 games last year. They should win 47-48. They took the Knicks to 6 games this past year. The East is weaker going into next year. They've lost Boston. Maybe the East gets super strong. Maybe these East teams, all of them, make crazy moves. But right now, the East is wide open. Pistons should win 47-48 games, and you should expect them to win a first-round series next year. That's the expectations I have for this team. That's the expectations that everybody should have for this team now. And that's a good thing. That means you're no longer looked at as a trash team. That means you're no longer looked at as just a poor pity team. As, oh, they're just happy to be here kind of team. That is good. When you have expectations, that means you have respect. When you have expectations, that means people respect you and believe in you. That should be the expectations. And the Pistons have graduated from a rebuilding team to a team with expectations. That's a good thing. And people should hold them accountable to that. Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Ku Khahil. Do you guys agree, disagree that the Pistons should have expectations next year? What do you expect of the team going into next year? Again, let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Ku Khahil. Coming up, I have some quick hits, some quick hitting opinions on some things that have been said or have happened in the Pistons community over the last few days. We got comments from JB Bickerstaff on Tom Thibodeau. We have an answer to a question that I've been asked many times since we recorded with Keith Smith, the Spot Track last week, concerning the Pistons cap space. I'm going to answer all of that and give my thoughts on some of these quick-hitting subjects coming up. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. We're at Game 5 now of the NBA Finals. You're running out of time here. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. I've told you guys this many of times. A few years ago when betting became legal in Michigan, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to try out. Tried out FanDuel, and I have not turned back since. Not only is it super fun to use, it's super self-explanatory, super easy to use, but obviously, most importantly, it's super fun to use. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Again, head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll win $200 in bonus bets. You can make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA with FanDuel. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons first listen, being everydayers. I appreciate all of you guys. Check out the description down below for the Substack and for the playback. I appreciate all of that as well. Now let's get into a new segment that we're going to be trying to introduce, Quick Hits, where I give my opinion, quick opinions, try to get many things out there. Some quick hitting opinions on some topics that have come up within the Pistons community. So first topic, I want to give a quick thought on. JB Bickerstaff was very vocal, and it seems like defending Tom Thibodeau and not really agreeing with the New York Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau. My thoughts on that is coaches are obviously going to defend other coaches. Coaches don't like to see each other get fired. No one really likes to see people get fired, first of all. But especially coaches. They're going to stand up for each other. I think the Knicks were right in firing Tom Thibodeau. Fans were complaining about stuff all year with this guy. And the changes that he finally made in the Eastern Conference Finals, like when they were finally down 2-0, were changes that apparently the front office and the fans alike were all asking him to make all season. He just refused to make them. He was slow to adjust. With Tibbs, players are going to gas out playing for him. There's a ceiling you reach. You can only hear so much of Tibbs. You can only deal with Tibbs so much. And look, I think a lot of people believe that the Knicks' run to the Eastern Conference Finals was a little fluky. And I think the Knicks are admitting that themselves by firing Tibbs. So I understand. And JB was fired by Cleveland. Cleveland went on to have a better year this year. And they ended up losing the second round anyways, even despite having a better year in the regular season. So I'm sure he's probably feeling a type of way with that still. It's probably a little bit of a subtle shot by defending Tibbs getting fired despite being good with the team. It probably is a little bit of like a subliminal still towards Cleveland. I get all that. I respect it. It is what it is. I'd be taking shots too. And I would defend my guys too. But I don't think the Knicks were wrong in defending Thibodeau. I think that was the right move. I would have fired Thibodeau too. It's kind of like the same thing Denver did when they fired Michael Malone. They said, we didn't want a playoff run, a potential fine playoff run to make people think we shouldn't fire when we feel like that is the right move. I agree. I think that's the same thing with the Knicks. I agree with them. Now, I don't agree with them just going through and calling every team in the NBA and be like, hey, can we have your coach? It's like, okay, what's going on? Next thing. I've had a lot of you guys ask this question, so I went and had it confirmed. A lot of you guys were asking me, after we talked with Keith Smith of Spot Track and went through everything with Piston salary cap, CBA related, everything to have to know about this offseason. A few of you guys asked me, well, Ku, can't the Pistons release the cap holds to get underneath the cap so they operate as a cap space team, then use their cap space on Malik Beasley, and then since they use their cap space, now they go back to being an over-the-cap team, and now they can use the MLE again? Why can't they just do that? Well, you cannot do that. Once you release your cap holds and you go under the cap as a cap space team, you lose that MLE, you lose that. You cannot then use your cap space within that same offseason and be like, okay, now we have the 14 MLE. You cannot do that. Once you release the cap holds, it's over with. So there is no trying to double dip. It is a good question. Had a lot of you guys asking. I didn't even know 100%. I thought you couldn't do it, but I wasn't 100% sure on it. It is a good question, but I had it confirmed. You cannot double dip like that. It's once you release those cap holds, you're operating as an under the cap team. That's what you are. You're not getting that MLE again. You're not getting that $14 million taxpayer MLE. It's not happening. So that's the other thing. Final thing I want to give my quick opinion on. Ashton, the trainer, obviously friend of the podcast, Cade Cunningham's cousin and trainer, tweeted out that he thinks Cade can be first team next year and the Detroit Pistons can be a top 3 seed next year. I believe if the Pistons are a top 3 seed next year, Cade would then obviously be a first team. So it has to come with team success. But yeah, I think both those things go hand in hand. If Cade's first team, that must mean the Pistons had a really good year, then top 3 is available. If the Pistons are top 3, that must mean Cade had a really good year, and now he's first team. I think, though, that in order for either of those to happen, what we talked about in the first segment has to happen. They have to get better. And again, that does not mean they have to trade the young guys. I'm fine with trading one of the young guys. I would if a good enough player was available. But that doesn't mean you have to do that. You could keep the young guys and just improve upon your rotation and potentially see that kind of improvement. Just don't run it back completely. You need to improve upon your rotation. They do that. I think both those things are possible. I think if the Pistons improve their backup 4 position, get another shot creator, maybe upgrade their starting 4 position, upgrade those all those areas along the edges, I think the Pistons could end up as a top 3 seed. I think the Pistons could end up having Cade or helping Cade make All-NBA first team next year. I think that 100% is within the realm of possibility if the Pistons want it to be in the realm of possibility. They have to want that to be a part of the possibility. If they're just going to run the team back and not make any moves to try to improve, then I don't think you must not want that to be the realm of possibility. I don't believe that's possible. I don't think they're going to be a top 3 seed by having the exact same team as this past year. I don't think that's possible. But you improve along the edges, improve along your rotation. Yeah, I think Cade can make All-NBA first team. I think the Pistons could be a top 3 seed because they have a good young core that could get better, and they just need better vets each year. Each year they need better supporting cast. So I think it could happen, but the Pistons need to act like it. But that's it. That's our first time running the quick hits news segment we'll be doing probably once or twice a week, especially if like multiple things happen within a week that maybe don't take up a whole segment, but I want to give my quick opinions on. We'll have this segment come back. So let me know, comment section down below, how you guys feel about any of the quick hitting subjects we just tackled in this final segment. Let me know what you guys think about all the things we discussed today. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Ku Khahil. That's all I've got for you guys today. I want to thank all of you guys making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are less than 200 subscribers away from 11,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. I really would appreciate it. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there. And until next time, peace out, everybody.